Thoughts, friends. Our Earth is not only a solar system, but it is the only planet in the universe where life has existed so far. But on this one planet that has the signs of life, such terrible geological events and destructive events have happened in the past, which were no less than the Day of Judgment. Due to these incidents, the existence of life on Earth has always been vulnerable. Tsunamis and earthquakes have been rampant at different times, and as a result of each incident, millions of people and animals have been eaten alive. At times, these incidents have also caused major changes in the geographical conditions of the Earth. Sometimes, due to these incidents, there was a difference in the rotation of the Earth, and sometimes the rivers began to flow in the opposite direction. Sometimes the mass of the Earth continued to reshift, and sometimes the positions of the North and South poles also changed. Generally, geological processes, that is terrestrial events, take place in a very sluggish manner. It takes years for the rivers to dry up, the blue of the land to turn into deserts, and the glaciers to melt and end. But 66 million years ago, an incident took place when the conditions of the Earth changed in just one day, which is known as the Cretaceous Paleogene Extinction crisis in history. Due to this incident, the land was left barren. Thousands of species of animals and plants went extinct. The sunlight could not reach the ground for years, and there was a dark shadow like night everywhere. Friends, why did these situations arise, and when did a new bright morning appear after a long dark night? Let's find out the answers to all these questions. Friends, as we said, this incident, which created a very terrible and terrifying situation on the surface of the Earth, is known as the Cretaceous Paleogene Extinction crisis. In fact, due to the great changes that have taken place on the Earth in the past, the experts have divided the history of the Earth under the geological timescale in different periods. In these different time periods, the Cretaceous period and the Paleogene period are of great importance. The basis of the division between these two periods is the mass extinction event that took place about 6.6 million years ago, when, as a result of just one incident, 75% of the animals and plants, that is 3/4 of the species, went extinct, and a biotic crisis was created on the Earth. Now the question arises in the mind that how did all this happen? According to the experts, 66 million years ago, an asteroid, that is a large planet, which was part of the cluster of asteroids between Mars, that is Mars, and Jupiter, got lost in Jupiter's gravitational force due to some malfunction. Once, when this planet left the gravitational binding of Jupiter, that is the Cretaceous crater, then at some point in space, its trajectory intersected the Earth's orbit. The gravitational force of the Earth proved to be a resultant force, which began to pull this planet towards itself. As it moved towards the Earth, the gravitational force of the Earth became stronger, and the speed of this planet and its progression towards the Earth increased rapidly. Finally, it collided with the Earth on the Chicxulub crater in the Yucatan Islands off the Gulf of Mexico. As a result of this collision, a crater of about 20 kilometers deep and 180 kilometers in diameter fell on the Earth, which is known as the Chicxulub crater. It was named after this place near the Gulf of Mexico, where it collided with the Earth. This crater, that is some part of the crater, is on the ground, while most of it is in the sea. Looking at these scenes, you must be thinking that the crater is not visible anywhere in the picture. And where is the asteroid that collided with the Earth and its remains? Other questions must be arising in your mind. So friends, you are absolutely right. We will answer all these questions. According to experts, the speed of the colliding asteroid was at least 45,000 miles per hour, or about 12 miles per second. That is, it was many times faster than a fighting jet like F-16. The asteroid is 10 to 15 kilometers wide and weighs 2 trillion metric tons. That is, equivalent to 40 lakh buildings like Burj Khalifa. As a result of this collision, a series of horrific incidents began, which wreaked havoc on our planet Earth. Such unspeakable situations have arisen that the imagination itself shudders. According to geologists and physicists, millions, if not billions, of terajoules of energy were released due to the collision and powerful explosion from the asteroid. It should be clear that in 1945, only 60 terajoules of energy was released from the nuclear bombing in Hiroshima in Japan. That is, when this asteroid collided with the Earth, the intensity of the explosion was equivalent to millions of atom bombs. The colliding asteroid was completely fragmented and vaporized, and its remains began to accumulate in the form of hot dust in the air. Some part of this hot dust spread far and wide in the solar system outside the atmosphere, but its heavy mass began to fall back on the Earth from the air. This hot dust fire began to rain on the Earth. In the radius of thousands of kilometers, the animals and plants that came under this fire burned alive and became ashes. The largest living non-avian dinosaurs on Earth, as well as mammals, birds, reptiles, that is, lizards and snakes, many species of sharks, taloids, fishes, ammonites, shells, and thousands of species of plants perished. Almost all animals weighing 4 feet and 25 kilograms were extinct. Only a few extremely small creatures that had gone into the depths of the earth or seawater survived. With the rain of hot dust, ash, and fireballs, events such as wildfires took place all over the world. 70% of the world's jungles were burned to the ground. This caused an extraordinary heat pulse, and the temperature of the Earth once increased to several degrees Celsius. According to experts, the winds began to blow at a speed of 1,000 kilometers per hour in the Gulf of Mexico. Tsunami waves of 100 meters high were formed. In fact, the initial waves were up to 1,500 meters high. Due to the rapid flow of air and the presence of ash and other chemicals in the air, the climate changed rapidly, and acid rains began to fall in various parts of the world. According to an expert, these acid rains lasted for hundreds of years. Due to the violent earthquake, a series of seismic activities began, resulting in 9, 10, and 11 earthquakes. Due to these earthquakes, volcanic eruptions also began. That is, volcanic eruptions began, and lava began to erupt from the mountains. It should also be remembered here that the severe devastation of the epicenter and its thousands of kilometers in radius did not directly reach the oceans on the other side of the globe, and the animals and plants found there remained safe from this devastation to some extent. But friends, this is not the end, because after immediate consequences, the long-term consequences of this incident begin, due to which not even an inch of the Earth could remain safe. After the incident, a total of 25 trillion metric tons of smoke, dust, and soil accumulated in the air. Most of this dust also fell back on the ground, but its very heavy amount began to spread in the atmosphere. This completely covered the globe in just a few weeks. The sun's light lost contact with the ground. Due to the chemical reactions of this dust cloud in the air, the concentration of gases in the air began to deteriorate. The water, air, and environment began to deteriorate. As a result, it became difficult for creatures living in remote areas to breathe. The depletion of soil and soil began to disrupt the digestive and respiratory systems of plants and animals. As this obstacle between the sun and the earth began to grow longer, photosynthesis in plants began to be severely affected by global warming. When the process of making food for plants stopped, their survival was in danger. On a global scale, malnutrition began to occur in the food chain of animals. When the plants began to die, herbivores and carnivores, which ate animals to survive, quickly became extinct. In the atmosphere, aerosols, that is, the thick layer of smoke and dust, completely covered the earth. As the sun's light could not reach the ground, there was a dark shadow everywhere like a night, and within a short time, there began to be a dramatic decrease in temperature. According to them, this obstacle between the sun and the earth lasted for about 10 years, and according to some, it lasted for more than 10 years, due to which in all this time, frozen conditions remained on the earth. This cold seasonal effect is known as nuclear winter, or Juhari Musami Sarma. A large number of animals could not compete with these freezing conditions, and thus, a total of 3/4, that is, 75% of the animals and their generations remained extinct. Some animals, were saved from extinction, but after going through many economic stages, they were reborn. These include mice, rats, hawks, snails, catfish, frogs, salamanders, crocodiles, turtles, gorillas, whales, bats, ostriches, eagles, and some relatively small flying dinosaurs, which evolved into small birds over time. Hundreds of years of acid rains eventually caused the cloud to slowly move away. In all this time, due to the weakening, the medium of the sun began to return to the Earth, and slowly, nuclear winter also reached its end. As a result of this evolution on the ground, new generations of animals began to be born, and thus began a new era. But friends, the question arises that is this an accident, or is it just an assumption? Or is there any truth that 66 million years ago, a meteorite hit the Earth and caused a mass extinction? And is there any evidence to confirm all this? So let's take a look at it. In 1978, experts and geophysicists of the Mexican Stereotype Company were working in the Gulf of Mexico and Yucatan Peninsula to find oil reserves. Experts noted that in this area, there is a magnetic and gravitational anomaly that is a continuous irregularity is being found in the value, while outside the diameter of 180 kilometers, the conditions are completely normal, as if you are under the ground or you are under the influence of a massive crater. Although the 20 kilometers deep and 180 kilometers diameter crater is not visible in its original state today, which certainly suggests that in millions of years, including sedimentation and erosion, have significantly changed the depth and level of this crater. Similarly, another evidence in the 1980s, geologists have stated in their research that iridium is a rare element, but it is found in large quantities in galaxies such as asteroids and comets. It has found high concentration layers in many places of the world. When the experts checked the dating of iridium samples, the iridium found in all places turned out to be 66 million years old. That is, when it collided with the planet Earth. The blast from the collision spread the iridium in the atmosphere first, and then it fell in different places in the world. Similarly, when the age of dinosaurs and other living things was determined by radioisotope dating, the age of most fossils was found to be 66 million years old. It is also true that the remains of a few dinosaurs are 145 million years old and 230 million years old, but 66 million years old fossils are found in large numbers, which can be considered a testimony to the truth of this incident. The collision with the planet Earth is that there are cenotes located outside the 180 kilometers radius of Mexico at Tasadum. These cenotes and sinkholes on one side are important for researchers, and on the other side are the center of attention of tourists from all over the world. According to the exteriors, these pits and pits found, and the ponds of water in these pits, came into existence as a result of this incident. As a result of further research and drilling, tick ties and radium samples were also discovered, which are part of the body found in the pit and further strengthen the truth of the asteroid impact. The Chicxulub crater incident was a very big event in the history, but in general conditions, small stones break and fall on the basis of everyday life, but before they reach the Earth, they either disappear or they do not become a cause of any significant damage. Sometimes some large-sized stones burn and die before falling, but the shockwaves generated by them are extremely dangerous. A similar incident took place in the city of Chelyabinsk, when a meteor burned to ashes 30 kilometers above the Earth's atmosphere. It was 20 meters in size, and it was coming down at a speed of 19 kilometers per second. The footage of the meteor coming down while burning was saved by the camera installed in the dashboard of the car running on the road, which you are seeing. As a result of this incident, a severe shockwave was born, which was felt in 6 cities of Russia. The shockwave broke the glass of 7,200 buildings and injured 1,500 people and took them to the hospital. This was the biggest incident of the past 100 years. If this stone had hit the ground, it could have been 30 times more destructive than Hiroshima. Similarly, in September 2007, a 13-meter thick crater was formed in the city of Peru, The shockwave damaged the buildings of nearby villages and broke the glass of the windows, while many people were affected by the smoke and air contamination and reached the hospital. According to NASA experts, there are thousands of small-sized and hundreds of 1 km-sized asteroids in the void. Experts are examining these asteroids to see if there is a possibility of their collision with the ground and to prevent any such major incident in the future. The trajectory of these asteroids is also being researched, and some of its experiments have been successful. But the guarantee of complete protection is obvious that man cannot give. Friends, how did you like this video about the details of this disastrous destruction of our planet? And what do you want to know about asteroids and other planets? Let us know in the comments. And to watch such investigative and informative videos, subscribe to our channel. Thank you.